Hey, tennis team, I told you I would go ahead and do a review of the Tennis Smash quiz. How well do you know the rules of tennis? There are some obscure rules in this thing that quite possibly will never apply to you, but I did want to go ahead and touch on what the answers were. I filled in all the right answers already. That is not to say that I got them all right when I took the quiz. I did not, when I took it originally. But I am going to review what the correct answers would be. So for the first one here, where can a vibration dampener be placed? So you see these sometimes on the rackets. A couple of our team rackets have them. They're those little oval things you can sometimes see on the racket. There's not one in this picture, which is stupid. But it's got to be outside of the cross pattern. So you can put it all the way up at the top, you put it all the way at the bottom, you can put more than one on if you want, but they got to be outside of those cross patterns. After serving a first serve, the server's racket falls out of their hand and hits the net before the ball bounces in the correct service box. What's the call? First of all, the call is you're an idiot. How did you throw your racket that far? If it fell out of your hand and hit the net, that seems a bit ridiculous. But we're going to answer the question as posed. Because it hit the net before the ball bounced, server loses the point. You can't touch the net. You can't hit the net with that kind of thing. So that's what happens there. After the first serve, racket falls out of the hand. Same concept. Ball has bounced outside the correct service box before the racket hits the net. Because the play has technically ended when that ball goes out of bounds, when it lands outside the service box, it does not matter that the racket then hit the net. So that one is simply going to be a service fault. Is a player allowed to jump over the net into the opponent's court while the ball is in play? A player is not allowed to jump over the net, period. It's not allowed. So no, don't do it. Crossovers, walk around, end of the match. If we go for the handshake, or as we've talked about, the racket tap, we're going to go to the net. We're not going to go jump over the net. We're going to walk around. A ball hits a bird during a point. That's a let. You can't control it hitting a bird. That's really unusual. We're going to call that a let. If a ball or other object is on the court, what happens? Now, in practice on our courts, because we have those weird cracks and we have grass growing out of some of those cracks, weeds growing out of some of those cracks, you sometimes hear me call it a let in practice. Technically, you play the court the way that it is. So if there's weeds on it, if there's cracks in it, if it hits a ball that's rolling around on the court, something like that, it's part of the court. There's nothing you can do about it. You're supposed to remove objects from the court before point begins. The reason that I changed that rule in practice is because if a ball hits a crack and goes flying off sideways to the left, and that's a totally out of our control thing and not something that's likely to happen in an actual match, that's the reason that I'll call a let on that kind of thing. So that's what's going on there. This one does actually apply in doubles, whereas the receiver's partner allowed to stand at the start of a point. They can stand anywhere on their side. This example down here, hit it with the arrow. Anywhere on the other side of the court as long as they're not creating a hindrance. Now, typically, you're going to stand anywhere on the non-receiver side of the court. So anywhere over here. Next to your service partner, your partner is back here serving. You can see the ball coming in like this. Technically, you're going to stand in this kind of range, probably up here on that pickleball line for those of you guys that were at practice at Belvedere Park, or on the crack if we're thinking about our regular courts at the high school. But technically, you can stand anywhere as long as you're not a hindrance. You do have to stand still or as still as you can. So you can't just be like standing over on this side and going, hey, hey. That's going to be a problem. In doubles, the receiving partner is hit by the serve before it lands. What's the call? This does happen sometimes. Watch out, because if you get hit, it's the server's point. Player hits a ball which strikes the single stick and then lands on the correct side of the court. Is the ball in play? We are not going to use single sticks. You're not going to see them. However, the net post, the same answer would apply. If it hits the post and lands in the correct place, the ball is in play. But if it's on the serve, then it's a fault. So you can hit off the post. You can hit around the post. Any of those things. And that is the last question on there. I'm about to run out of time because I'm using Screencastify. So those are your answers. And I did download that app that I had shared out on the website so we can get some digital tennis going that way as I get more updates from the IHSA or from the state of Illinois on when schools are going to reopen. I will keep you guys informed. Be safe. Wash your hands. Hope you're all doing well.